The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, What You Need to Know About Chapter 1 by David Wade. For starters, take a good look at the notice and explanatory. The blustering and rambunctious tone of the notice establishes the funny tone of the novel, but by deliberately discounting the motive, moral, and plot of the story, Twain is suggesting that the opposite is true. Don't think of the pink elephant! Juxtaposed to the novel notice is the explanatory. The explanatory is a bit more serious. Although friendly, it is focused on Twain's expertise in dialect and further affirms his commitment to literary realism. The fact that the notice and explanatory are side by side at the beginning of the book is interesting. Because the notice is humorous and the explanatory focuses on realism of language. Humor and realism are the essence of Twain's voice, and he uses these two elements to make profoundly moral statements about society. In the first paragraph, we meet Huck as the narrator. From the first sentence, we see the funny and informal style that we will see throughout the book. Huck also makes the point of establishing that this book is his own. He's independent from Twain, and so even in the first paragraph, he's ingraining the reader with the sense of his independence. In the fifth sentence of the novel, Huck has brought up the topic of lying and the truth, an issue of great personal importance to Huck later in the book. The first chapter introduces one of the themes in the book, the theme of freedom versus civilization, largely in the form of Huck versus the widow Douglas. We particularly see Huck's view of freedom versus civilization as it relates to food. He prefers that his food be mixed together, not unlike the KFC bowl photo on the right. Thus, the KFC bowl is a symbol of freedom and the opposite of civilization. Twain also makes use of satire throughout the novel. Remember, satire ridicules the vices and weaknesses of individuals and society in hopes of shaming people into improvement. So every time we see satire, we should also be thinking about the target. Twain's first target is the hypocrisy of widow Douglas. And if we were to take the widow as a symbol of society, the hypocrisy of society. The widow condemns Huck for smoking while she enjoys snuff. Snuff is like a powder form of tobacco that people shoot in wads up their noses. They snort it. I don't understand it. Please don't smoke or do snuff. That's crazy. One of the sources of humor throughout the book is Huck's often literal misinterpretations of complicated subject matter. In this chapter, Huck describes the act of prayer as grumbling over the victuals, though they weren't really anything wrong with them. Huck also has a very distinct view on death. It could be argued that other authors we have read this semester did not take stock in dead people. Can you think of any? This chapter concludes with this passage describing the night from Huck's bedroom. Just scanning over the selection, you can see several examples of morbid diction. Huck equates every sound he hears, a dog, an owl, the wind, whippoorwill, whatever that is, with death. He's also very superstitious, which we see after he accidentally flicks a spider into a candle. Is Huck's preoccupation with death meaningful, or is this just a reflection of his youth? This concludes everything I want you to know about Chapter 1.